Good morning, traders. This is Pierre. Let's try this again. Good morning, traders. This is Pierre Wilkey with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:41 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, August 10, 2020. So looking real quick back at Friday's session, we can see that the Russell was outperforming. Right here was the overnight action down here. This is a 256 tick chart, and you can see that right after the bell rang when this box starts, it just went up and held above the overnight value, and just continued to print uh, you know prices that were worth more than the overnight and the previous day. Looking at the bell, opened up in value, tagged all the way down to value area low, went up above value, never looked back the rest of the session, got up and on this pullback that was just the previous day's high, and then closed on the highs for the session. Looking at the NASDAQ, it was definitely the weaker link, right? It really couldn't get out of the overnight value area to start with in the morning. Took a look up above, failed, come back down, and then fell under and was weak all day. If you look at it on the daily levels, it was just basically stuck in neutral all day, a little bit below the previous day's low, but basically traded inside value, and it was an inside day for the most part. Looking at the ES, basically an inside day on the upper end of the range, and the same with the Dow, and then they all had the little late breaks up and out, except for the NASDAQ, which was the severe laggard for the day. So looking at the week, in my opinion, we do have CPI Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. We do have retail sales Friday morning at 8:30 a.m. But to be honest with you, I don't think those are that big of a deal. I'm sure we'll get a little bit of volatility, a little bit of play on it, but I don't think it's anything that's going to change the direction of the market, no matter what they print. So for me, we have a little bit of a lack of news for the week. And I think, to be honest with you, this 2 a.m. Great Britain GDP is probably bigger than any of the American news this week. So watch 2 a.m. Wednesday, and we'll see if we get any volatility out of that. Of course, if it comes in line, it's status quo, and we'll see if that provides us any opportunities. But I'd be a little bit more cautious Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning, holding positions, especially if they're currency related. And I think that we could even have a little bit of a dollar or a U.S. equity impact from this print in the overnight session that night. And just going back down here again, there's no earnings that I think are anything significant. Of course, these stocks can be played, but that's the way it is. So let's look at the charts since we haven't done it for a while. So 5-day percentage change. Russell outperforming, NASDAQ underperforming, but they're all positive, right? The NASDAQ is almost up 6% in the last 5 trading sessions. Looking at the 10-day, you can see that the NASDAQ the Russell took over the NASDAQ, and the Dow and the ES a little laggy behind. Looking at the 15-day, similar pattern, Russell, the rest. 20 days is a lot clearer, right? Russell than the rest. 60 days and year to date, Russell than the rest. And then year to date cash, and this is really why I think the NASDAQ is starting to stall up here. The NASDAQ has just so outperformed the rest of the indices so far this year. I think they're playing catch up. And if you look at the year to date, right, the Russell is the clear underperformer so far. It's done the worst so far, so it had the most room to go up. And I think as you get rebalancing and whatnot going on in the market, you just have traders, scaling out of some of their NASDAQ longs, right, and scaling into some of the Russell. Not to saying they're exiting all those positions, they're just reweighting their portfolios, and makes perfect sense. So as we look at the overnight session so far for the ES, 20.5 points so far. If we look at where we've been, consolidation up, consolidation, a little, shake and bake up, and then we're just basically barely over these highs. So what I'm really looking for, and we'll look at where the level 4s are today. So 32.95.75 up to 33.93.75, which is just under the all-time high. I don't see that really printing today. Uh, I would look for something. I think we're going to have a hard time getting past 33.70 at the highest, and I think we'd have a hard time getting basically under 33.30, which would be value area low. So from 33.30 to 33.70, I think would be the extreme range on a lackey news day that I'm looking for today, and we'll see how that goes. Looking at all the indexes and what they're doing compared to the previous session and overnight, we've got the overnight low for the Nas or for the Russell, yeah, for the Russell, uh, and basically we're holding above the highs of Friday for the most part, barely dipped into value in the overnight session. And if we look at these blue boxes, right, so we had the Russell and the ES both print trades after the bell closed before futures closed Friday, and that's what these boxes represent. We're above them now, which is a little bit more of a bullish sign. Cracking under them, it might just take us closer to 33.30 for the ES. I don't even think we have a chance to get down to 33.22 today, to be honest with you. So we'll see. So look for a slow grind, and I have some things to do this morning, and I don't think the market looks that enticing. I'm probably going to let this thing play out for a little bit today. I'm probably actually going to only play between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, or 1:45 to 4:15 today is going to be really what I'm looking to do. I want to let some more consolidation, let some things shake out, and then we'll see if we get anything in those last, 2.5 hours basically from 1:45 to 4:15 when the futures close. I think you might actually have a little bit more opportunity at that time of day than you're going to have in the rest of the day. So as we look at really where we're going, uh, this week, because Congress has failed to act on the stimulus, you have President Trump's trying to do his thing, but President Trump has no spending authority. If the presidents had spending authority, they wouldn't need Congress, and it would be a monarchy or a dictatorship. So that's not going to fly. So he's going to push Congress to him. It was probably a pretty good strategic thing to try for political things to let the Democrats are going to fight it just to prove that he has no spending power, because Congress would be inept if the presidents could spend at will and set budgets. So as we look at this, with Congress's failure to act, what we've got in the past, and you can go back through the last 100 years of the stock market, anytime that there's been free money on the table for Wall Street to play with, and the purse strings seem to like they're going to tighten up, Wall Street always, and I mean always, does this to Congress if they fail to act. They will take it down, and they will scare the bejesus out of Congress. They will take it down quickly once in a while when they get fed up, and then after it passes, they'll just run it right back up. So if you don't believe me, you can go back and look at any major legislation where there's been money coming to Wall Street, and that is a pattern. So we were up near all-time highs. We can keep just chugging along, but definitely do not be complacent this week. There is no news. The only real news, in my opinion, is that Great Britain GDP Wednesday morning at 2 o'clock. And there's no earnings news that matter for anything. As far as I'm concerned, it's going to move the stock market. So this is a perfect week for the algos to mess with Congress's head, and that is the pattern that they do. So I'm not saying you need to go out and short. I'm just saying watch for the pattern. I am playing to the bullish side right now until that pattern breaks. But as soon as I start seeing the shake and bake to screw with Congress, I will be all over it if it sets up. And I want you to be aware that basically we could end up all the way back down as low as probably 31.70 is where I would think we could end up getting to, and that is 100 and 80 points lower than where we are right now. So looking at the NASDAQ, so we have 11,055 here. We have 11,185. Those are really the zones I'm looking at, and I don't see us breaking that area today. So use some other technical analysis, see what you like, and don't think that we're going to break that range today because I don't think it's really on the table. Looking at the Russell, we're getting up to 1582.30. That should be a little bit of a grind getting over that level. And then to the downside, there's probably some micro levels on here. I'm not going to throw them on, but basically 1562.30 is as low as I think we can get today, and probably just a little bit over this 82.30. So probably another 10, 15 points higher at the most, and we could sit there and shuffle back and forth on this bigger support and resistance line. Looking at the Dow, we have finally cracked up here towards this 27,462. We got 27,471 so far in the overnight session. So this is some support and resistance. We could easily come back. I should go ahead and throw that line on here. We could easily come back down to these previous highs and right around the top of this box. We're going to draw this in right at 27. Let's see what 91 looks like on here. 27,291 is right around the range. So if we can't get over this 27,462, that's it. So if we don't scare Congress and we just keep melting up, I have no significant resistance for the Dow until we get up to 28,150. So that would be the next step up above on that. So looking back at all the indexes, just kind of putting a little wrap on the thoughts for the morning. Watch these highs from Friday for the ES and the Russell, right? Staying above those highs is just going to let us bleed a little bit higher. I don't really think we can get any conviction over 33.70 today. So if we get up around that level or just under it, I'd start taking some profits. I think that's going to be your top end. And I think even if things look bleak, unless they start accelerating, I don't think we're taking out 33.30 for the ES today on the downside. I hope this helps. I hope you guys like this technical analysis. If you do, give the video a thumbs up, and I will talk to you tomorrow.